Said the dark side's coming now, nothing is real. She'll never know just how I feel. From out of the darkness, she walks like a dream. Made me feel crazy, made me feel so mean.
From high atop the battlements of Castle Curmudgeon, where we are doing our part to solve the climate crisis by having a Labor Day feast of bugs, dirt, algae, rainwater, and crippling racial guilt. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America and all ships at sea. Welcome to the Blast Radius. Glad you could join us this evening. Hope your long weekend is proceeding agreeably. Here is your Decline of Western Civilization news roundup for the work week ending 30 August 2024. Dateline London, Monday 26 August. British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, still desperate to come up with any sort of explanation for the epidemic of violent crime and civil unrest that doesn't involve an admission that maybe unlimited mass migration from the third world could potentially result in unwanted consequences for the British citizenry. He rolled out a brand new red herring this week to explain the whole thing away. Well, I guess it's more of a white herring, really, because, yep, you guessed it. The reason why migrant psychopaths keep stabbing little kids to death is because the British people are just so damned racist and xenophobic and Islamophobic and homophobic and agoraphobic and arachnophobic. Sorry if I get to prattling on, but sometimes it's difficult to remember which list of istophobias you're working from week to week. So the point being, Mr. and Mrs. Britain, the migrant crime wave and the wholesale destruction of British history and culture, it's got nothing to do with the fact that successive Westminster governments, Labour and Tory alike, have spent the last several decades jamming third world migrants into the country hand over fist and making no attempt whatever to integrate and acculturate and assimilate them into British society, which obviously would be racist. But let's hear it from the PM himself. Quote, "These riots didn't happen in a vacuum. They exposed the state of our country, revealed a deeply unhealthy society, the cracks in our foundation laid bare, weakened by a decade of division and decline, infected by a spiral of populism, which fed off cycles of failure of the last government." And this next part's my favorite. "Every time they faced a difficult problem, they failed to be honest. They offered the snake oil of populism, which led to more failure. End quote. You'll notice he uses the word populism here not once but twice as a pejorative, which is a very recent development in Western political discourse. 8 years ago, before Trump and before Brexit, I can't ever remember hearing populism used as a dirty word, but for today's wokesters, it's just about the dirtiest of all words. It's a word they routinely juxtapose against the word democracy as if the two things are opposites, which is really quite bizarre, because here I've always operated in the belief that democracy and populism are closely, intimately related concepts. So, if the Prime Minister of Great Britain says he's a fan of democracy but he can't stand populism, it seems sort of like an unintentional admission of a couple different things. One, he thinks political power should be wielded by an unaccountable minority, and two, he has nothing but utter contempt for his own country's citizens. Now, if I was a fledgling prime minister whose tenure is off to just about the most disastrous start imaginable, would I be making such public admissions even implicitly? No, I don't think I would. Dateline Sacramento, Tuesday, 27 August. In a story that further illustrates just how very joyous it is living under permanent one-party government, the California Assembly passed a bill this week that would provide a $150,000 cash gift to any illegal alien who wants to buy a house. Could you make this stuff up if you tried? No, you could not. Has there been any discussion of giving a similar cash gift to, say, citizens or lawful immigrants? Nope, there has not. And shut up, racist. Because only a damn pointy-headed white supremacist KKK motherfucker would ever have a problem with massive cash gifts being given at taxpayer expense to people who ingressed our territory in contravention of our laws. In other words, you can only win this cash prize and claim your share of the American dream if you are actively engaged in a life of crime. Which, when you put it that way, it sounds exactly like something that only California Democrats would ever dream up. Because, again, when you have permanent one-party government for several decades, you get nothing but effective leadership, efficient administration, and common-sense policies that benefit everyone, as long as they're illegal aliens or vagrant drug addicts. The bill now heads to the desk of Governor Gavin Newsom, who, under ordinary circumstances, probably wouldn't hesitate to just sign the thing and laugh all the way back to his palatial Napa Valley vacation home. But he may have a bit of a conundrum on his hands with this one, since it is, after all, post-Labor Day in a presidential election year, which means we have entered the 60-day period every 4 years when radical leftist Democrats pretend to be moderate Republicans who want to lower your taxes and address the homelessness problem and put more cops on the street. And of course, we saw a comically unsubtle version of that phenomenon at the DNC last week when an arena full of woke Democrats put on camouflage trucker hats and rocked out to Leonard Skinner. And in the end, this reporter is only left with one further question. If I renounce my citizenship, relocate to TJ, and then sneak under the fence as an illegal alien, does that mean I'm eligible for the $150,000? Just asking. Dateline Rehoboth Beach, Wednesday, 28 August. Joe Biden, who is still allegedly the president of the United States, was seen in public only once this week when he shuffled from his house down to the shoreline to enjoy yet another in a string of carefree days of fun and leisure. And just speaking on my own behalf, when and if I ever have the opportunity to retire, I sure do hope I get to spend half as many days on vacation as this guy did when he was president, allegedly. For those fans keeping score at home, Joe Biden has spent an eye-watering 424 days of his presidency being on vacation and not presidenting. That's 39.3% of the total days since he was first installed in office. And we know the vice president isn't filling in for him since she's been busy giving disastrous interviews and getting into online flame wars with Gold Star moms and dads, which is a really outstanding look, by the way, Mrs. Zemhoff. For comparative purposes, here's the tale of the tape for other recent presidents and their proclivity for being on vacation. Now, remember when the fake news media were always clutching their pearls in terror over Trump's number of vacation days? Yeah, well, he comes in at 26%, or 14% less than Holiday Joe, which is further evidence, as if we needed it, that our fake news journalismers are totally objective and they call things right down the middle, no bias, no favoritism. Obama, 11.2%, not much of a vacationer. Who knows, maybe when you grew up in Hawaii, vacation is a relative concept. George W. Bush, 36.5%. He did love going to that ranch, maybe more than we realized. Bill Clinton, 11.8%. And I think we can probably guess why Bill Clinton preferred spending as much time as possible in the Oval Office. George H.W. Bush, 34.9%. Reagan, 11.5%. And Jimmy Carter, despite being a really god-awful president, he wins the most time at work award by a rather wide margin, since he spent only 79 days of his term, or 5.4% of the whole, on matters. And Joe Biden, if he was here with us right now, I expect he would say, 79 days, that's not even enough time to get unpacked. The Daily Mail reported on the president's movements, such as they were, with a tone that's perhaps more appropriate for a travel magazine when they wrote, quote, Biden and his group sat under 2 blue umbrellas. Some passers-by waved at them as they walked the beach, and the president waved back as he sported colorful swim trunks, a white t-shirt, and black cap for his day of carefree relaxation. And hey, if nothing else, it's good to see how well he has recovered from having a knife shoved in his ribs by Barack Obama while Nancy Pelosi shot him in the head while Hakeem Jeffries threw him out a 6th-floor window directly into the path of an electric yellow school bus driven by Kamala Harris. Dateline Atlanta, Thursday, 29 August. Well, Kamala Harris finally gave an interview this week and removed any mystery about why she has been so reticent in doing interviews. Because she's really bad at this stuff, guys. Like, all of it. If you ask me what is Kamala Harris good at, and I am not allowed to answer with the name of any sex act, I don't know what I would say. But what a wonderful snapshot this is, I think, of the folly of affirmative action and DEI hiring in general, because here we have a person who has ascended nearly to the apogee of world power without having to develop, much less master, any of the basic sort of kindergarten level skills that we traditionally associate with being a good politician. Like, for example, talking. She does not know how to talk, either in her intonation or her mannerisms. Did you see that train wreck of an interview where she had to bring along Master Sergeant Tampon Tim Walz to be like her emotional support animal? She doesn't even know that in an interview you're supposed to maintain eye contact with your interlocutor, because when you don't do that, it makes you look shifty and dishonest and untrustworthy. Now, granted, the possibility does exist that she kept looking down and to her right because she was reading her answers off of a monitor positioned on the floor, and that's why they needed the big, awkward, ridiculous table so that it could remain concealed. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, this person would fail the Toastmasters course that I had to take in 7th grade. You're staring at the floor, speaking in a barely audible croak, and that's supposed to give me confidence that you're prepared to be the leader of the free world? You want me to give you the fucking nuclear codes when you can't even look Dana Bash in the eye when she is doing her level best to hold your hand and guide you through the fake interview just as gently as possible? And here's the other big question I have. Who the hell is running the optics on this shambolic excuse for a campaign? Normally that's the side of the game that the Democrats are always better at because they have got all the Hollywood showbiz types on their side. But here we are with Kamala Harris giving her first and possibly only interview as the Democrat presidential nominee. And they're sitting in a very poorly lit room. It looks like some sort of warehouse back office. They've got this giant black table positioned diagonally with the camera at the near corner and Mrs. Emhoff at the far corner, which creates a sort of forced perspective effect where she looks like a little tiny hobbit and Tim Walz is towering over her like a beardless Gandalf with a tampon up his ass. And what was it with the empty cups that were strewn all over the table? What the hell is that? Someone actually went through what they thought was a rational thought process and they came up with this? They decided the composition of that camera shot was a good idea? But hey, at least we know Kamala's values haven't changed. What actually are those values? That remains anybody's guess. Dateline Everytown America, Friday, 30 August. The average cost of a Labor Day barbecue has increased by more than 1/3 over what it was 4 years ago, in case you needed more evidence that Bidenomics, or Kamalanomics, or whatever nomics it is now, has been a smashing, unmitigated, cracking success for everyday Americans. According to a report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, Joe Biden's own government, hot dogs are up 25%, chickens up 27%, biscuits, rolls, and muffins up 28%, beer 16%, lettuce 21%, salad dressing 31%, ketchup 24%, propane, kerosene, firewood 16%. And the only thing that can soften the blow for me now is if we get another video of crying Chuck Schumer putting cheese slices on top of raw hamburger patties because he has never grilled a burger in his entire dastardly life. But you have to give the Democrats this, I think. They are constantly inventing new ways to lie and things to lie about that we didn't even know existed. Like, what was Crying Chuck's best case scenario, I wonder? When he got the bright idea to do that burger grilling video back on Memorial Day, did he think people would look at that video and say, wow, look how relatable Chuck Schumer is grilling burgers in the backyard, just like regular old Joe American. Doesn't he have such a wonderful common touch? Of course, it didn't quite play out that way in the actual event, since the video caused such widespread mockery that Crying Chuck first had to turn off the comments on it, and then he pulled the tweet down altogether within a matter of about 6 hours. I believe in the sport of soccer, or association football for our British viewers, that is what's referred to as an own goal. But Kamala's got the answer for those high prices, guys. She says she is going after the price gougers because apparently, and who knew this, I didn't, the makers of consumer goods, they only became greedy price gouging bastards after Biden and Harris took over and started implementing dumb, stupid, indefensible inflationary economic policies. It really is a hell of an amazing coincidence, I think. Like Kamala's going to solve the problem by implementing Soviet-style central government price controls, which is to say, a couple years from now, you won't have to worry anymore about your Labor Day cookout being too expensive because there will not be anything on the grocery store shelves anyway. And that is the end of the roundup. Now let's welcome back, after his 2-week absence in the YouTube penalty box for promoting vicious acts of animal cruelty involving beer cans and alligators, your second most ruggedly handsome co-host, the one and only, your friend and mine, Mr. Caucasian Sasquatch.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Tactical nuke incoming!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Blast Radius, where we're pretty much going to spend this entire hour and a half talking about that god-awful interview that Kamala Harris did because I can't get it out of my head. I think we're going to turn it into a drinking game. Work with me. We'll see how it goes, right? So without any further ado, we got Cap, we got me, we got you, we got everybody, and we got to do this right. We got Juicy J, baby. What you bringing to the table tonight since we're doing drinking games?
Bro, since we're going to do drinking games, okay, great. I'm right on the level for everybody. So we're going to talk about that. I actually do have a couple of clips via Twitter involving Kamala Harris and some other instances where she may or may not be drunk. Also, I want to tap into a trial that a lot of people don't know, that Brianna Comfort murder trial, actually. Brianna Comfort was a store clerk. Actually, she was a clothing store clerk who was stabbed to death in California 26 times by a young individual who we can't name because, we're not allowed to name the demographics of the people until they actually go to trial. Yes, actually. And that trial started on Friday. Actually, this is very high profile. This is very high. Go ahead.
I could probably guess if I just went for a second.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
yeah. There's a certain way that all works that you have to read between the lines. If there's a suspect on the loose and they give absolutely no description of him, it's not a white dude. If it's a white dude, they say it's a white dude right away, and they say he's probably racist and it was probably a hate crime. It's just the way things.
I'll let you know right now. It was the individual was a 31-year-old man named Sean Laval Smith, who is actually on trial for the murder of Brianna Comfort. This trial is happening now. Actually, it just started on Friday. I will be covering this now. Actually, I will be covering this up until the Brandon Penny trial, which I will be there. Actually, I'm going to be there in New York for that trial physically to cover that.
What city was this? What city was this in?
That was in California. That was in. Let me give you some. Hold on. L.A.
Okay.
So this one I mentioned is in LA. So I'll be in.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
covering
it's,
an
I think
LA
it's the
trial,
first I'm
and I
hearing
will.
of it.
It's the actual attack happened in 2019. I will be covering an LA trial, but I will be there physically for the New York trial. I will be there physically
Beautiful.
for the Brandon Penny trial. I will be there for that. Right. By the way, guys,
Please.
Brandon Penny was a former Marine who choked out a crackhead on a subway station who was attacking people. That's going to be starting October 8th. So keep that in
Yep,
mind.
that one I remember.
Yes.
I want
And,
everybody
he needs everybody's support as much as he can get.
Yes, he does.
see this face. This is the face of fear. That should give you.
That's the face of someone. That's the face of someone who's allied with Alvin Bragg.
That's the face of someone who just got away with something and is currently getting away with it. Look at it.
When you look in the dictionary for the word smug self-satisfaction, that's the picture you see.
I'm gonna let you guys know right now. That's the pride before the fall. Right there.
God, I hope
That's
so.
the pride. That is the pride before the fall.
It's
Right.
a picture that makes you think. You remember the old Esquire meme? Why is this man laughing? The picture of Nixon. That's what this reminds me of. Like, what has this person done to be evincing that level of smug self-satisfaction?
Snowman, you want to grace us with this video because I know you want to so badly. I'm sorry, I said Snowman. I meant to say Sasquatch. I apologize. Guys, I've been drinking. As I mentioned before,
so
I started my Labor Day off early.
we need to lay down the rules to the drinking game. First of all,
Hold on, wait. I'm almost out of my beer. Let me make a new drink. I'm listening. I have my earbuds in. I'm listening.
Okay, cool. So it's
And
gonna go
also disclaimer: the hosts are not responsible if you play the drinking game and perish from ethanol poisoning.
yeah, y'all don't play at home. This is only for the stout and strong.
Yes.
You know, the true leaders among men like us, YouTubers. Listen, it's going to go something like this. Anytime she laughs at it, well, no, that won't work. Okay, anytime she says something that it doesn't really mean any, well, we can't do that either.
They've tried really hard. They've tried really hard getting her to tone down the cackle. So it's more of a it's more of a cackle giggle cackle now, like a hybrid. Not the full on Wicked Witch cackle that we're accustomed to, but just a slightly more subtle version of that nervous tick that she does when she doesn't know what to say and she's run out of catchphrases to vomit out and she just needs to run out the clock and
Bootsy, we can't do that. If we do it every time she tells a lie, we'll end up killing everybody in the audience, and I don't want to do that. That's been the problem so far.
Oh God, I know it'll look like fucking Jonestown if we do that.
It'd be the Kool-Aid all over again. I can see it. Good sued. We got to work this out though. I tell you what. We're going.
John Denicola's got it figured. Anytime she opens her mouth, you have to drink. She doesn't have to say anything.
That's the problem. That's the kind of thing that's going to give everybody freaking Jonestownitis. We can't. I don't want that. I want more viewers, not less.
Yes. We'll never get anywhere if we keep killing our audience.
Right? We learned that with the first channel. Oh Lord. Okay, so this is a body language ghost, and we're a huge fan of this chick over here. She sees people the way I do. When I meet somebody and I don't know them, she breaks down the type of thought process, and I don't even really think it anymore. It's just things that I know about you. What's up, Judd? Welcome in, bud.
And she's got a fantastic voice.
And she's got a fantastic voice.
And to David A. for this video. This is Kamala's first interview as president nominee and her running mate, Walz.
Madam Vice President, Governor Walz, thank you so much for sitting down with me and bringing the bus. Bus tour is well underway here.
Did you hear about the buses?
And they both turned to look at the bus.
Yeah, right. Like, right. Oh, why?
Oh,
Why?
yeah, the bus. We bought the bus. Yeah, that's our bus. All right.
Yep, it's totally us.
Thanks for that hard-hitting first question, Dana.
Did you hear about the other buses?
Which ones?
The ones where they were giving out vasectomies and
Oh
abortions?
yeah, that was a
And
fun one.
free abortions. They were giving out free baby deletions in Chicago.
That
I know because
happened,
my boy Andre was actually there face to face with that bus.
but that happened. That's some stupid comic book bullshit. It happened.
Like
That was real.
what's the why the vasectomies though? Is that like some weird attempt at gender equity? Is that what I'm looking at there?
That's the male equivalent of getting a much motion. Can we say that word on YouTube? Are we allowed to say that or no?
I
Well,
don't
there's all
know.
kind of words we can't say. We have
So-
to say that people got unalived and they were SA'd. And like
Listen,
there is a whole
okay.
new YouTube lexicon developing, and I do not like it.
I'm assuming that abortion is on the okay terms. A vasectomy is the male equivalent of an abortion, essentially in their eyes. Even though nothing gets killed, nothing
That's
dies.
Yeah,
Totally-
even though it's just about the worst comparison you could ever come up with. But
Yeah, no, that's not an apples to apples comparison at all.
yeah,
But
not by a long shot.
that gentleman, regardless of his identity, can father an army, a full military with enough willing females. He can field an entire battalion in 20 years. But that woman will abort a single child.
Well, and he could even father children post vasectomy if he wanted to, if he's willing to jump through the hoops that entails.
Yeah, I guess so. So it's not really a permanent thing, but the abortion is. That's fairly permanent.
My vasectomy just turned 20.
Fuck. I don't think I've ever heard it called like that. But all right.
and it wasn't for goddamn free neither.
Ain't that a bitch? I don't know if I'd go for a free one. I mean, NH Mountain Girl. So
Yeah.
Fire up the video, bro. Fire up the video.
I'm sorry, I got lost in thought there for a second. I was
They have the very same facial movement. There is so much stress coming into this interview. The mouth, both of them, pulled open, and the
Mhm.
corners of the mouth pulled way
soy
back.
face.
The stress and tension. She's gated on top, him on the bottom. We're going to go over some few things so we don't have to address this later. So the stress has been in here from the very beginning, and we already know.
And do you
I believe
pause it for a second?
The
Do you see what I'm talking about with the forced perspective effect, where it looks like he's absolutely towering over her and is twice her size? Like, who put that shot together, for God's sake?
They were sitting around shooting shots earlier, and then they just said, "Why are there like?" Okay, what's with all the
It's like they're trying to shoot a junior college film noir project or something.
Yeah, no, it looks like they come in and kicked everybody out of the cafeteria in the middle of their like break coffees because there's cups. There's like 9 cups on every single.
I know.
table.
And like
is
I said in
weird.
the roundup, the optics and the visuals and the aesthetic parts of politics are supposed to be the things that the Democrats are always better at.
Oh well, I can't.
But
control
that's
it. They
not a
just-
thing anymore, apparently.
Yeah,
Alternative.
and we got
but it is.
Alternative. What if the Democrats are banking on that? What I mean by that is, what if they're banking on they want to get the moderate, they want to get the center-right moderate to vote for Kamala because they have an older white man from what they would consider a conservative state who hunts, that they would perceive as the one who's in control of the actual presidency. And therefore, they're able to siphon just enough votes out of the Trump administration by believing, oh, you know, sure, this is a colored woman, but she has a center right or a center left white man, old white man who loves to hunt, who believes in conservative values enough that she's going to keep her on track.
Tim
What if that's
Walz.
the angle they're looking for? And by using that visualization, they're trying to pull that specific demographic over to the left just enough to siphon that specific amount of votes.
And if you had picked Shapiro, that would have been the perfect execution of that strategy. But picking this guy, I have no explanation for that.
Tim
Because
Walz
does-
is as conservative as Mao.
I
Tim
understand
Walz is, he's conservative like liquor is
Yes.
milk.
But not optics wise, he's not.
which is all that matters on that side is optics and identity.
Exactly.
So
I
if,
still-
if you're old goofy white dude, that's all that matters. Because all we need is the optics of an old goofy white dude.
I still say that he is her bulletproof vest. No one's going to take out Kamala to leave Tim Walz in power. No one's going to do that.
All right, that was my bad for interrupting.
You're good.
I mean,
God.
by all means, go ahead.
Released less than half. So Kamala, she's putting her hands on the table. She's gated. She's pretty much being upfront to you that you're not going to get an open conversation. She's put her hands together. They're intertwined. She's gated. Walz, he's put his hands underneath the table. He's hiding. And before this goes any further with the conspiracies, with the hand shape, finger movements, whatever, if you do a stress position enough, it becomes muscle memory. And that is what your go-to position is every time you're in stress, because you don't have to think about it. It's not a secret symbol. It is just where the mind goes. It's in stress. The body goes into a comfortable position that it remembers. And that is what he's doing. And he's hiding under the table, same as Miss Purple Lady. So right out of the bat, we can say there is an underlying.
I have a slightly different interpretation here. I see him, even because he knows he's forward in the shot, he's not supposed to be here, right? He's not supposed to be here.
Yeah, well, he seems uncertain of what role he's supposed to be filling.
He's basically like the cat in Dr. No.
I was hoping that each time she got herself in trouble, he was just going to start screaming random football references.
Mind stress. Nobody's going to give you the truth. If they do, it'll be highly washed.
In Georgia, you have less time to make your case to voters than any candidate in modern American history. The voters are really eager to hear what your plans are. If you are elected, what would you do on day one in the White House?
Well, there are a number of things. I will tell you first and foremost.
Right there.
I
When she scratches her mouth, she is truly ad-libbing. I noticed this the last time she decided to do an ad-lib. Yes, the last time she decided to do an ad-lib interview. We caught it on Twitter. She did that after one of her rallies. In fact, the latest rally before this one. The rally before her, for her interview. She did a rally where she did the exact same motion where she scratched the top of her lip and kind of looked off into the distance and spouted off a whole bunch of bullshit.
Oh,
And
nice.
body
Not the first time she's
body
done-
language people will always tell you that a hand to the face is often a dead giveaway of something.
This is one. Yeah, I'm not an expert at all. I'm saying this is one of her giveaways.
Right.
Yeah.
All I want to
No,
say,
no,
this is one of her giveaways. She's about to spout off a whole truckload of bullshit. Go ahead, Sasquatch.
Yeah, a whole truckload of bullshit is your prediction. Cap, what is your prediction?
I endorse that prediction.
All right. I'm going to say she's going to be honest with us.
there are a number of things. I will tell you first and foremost, one of my highest priorities.
So we're accessing visual memory there because there is going to be a point where she references the mic in her ear. And if you go look for the Clinton interviews when she was running for president, you will understand what we are talking about. The mic indication. We will go over it a little bit, but not in the detail we did with Clinton.
Is to do what we can to support and strengthen the middle class. When I look at...
So we have that strengthen the middle class. It's the same kind of concept you do when you have to do something. And in this sense, that little nod to the side, thrown over to the side, pretty much get away from me from the side. We have to do something with the
But
middle
then
class.
always back to the below and to her right. Look where she's looking right there. I'm not saying there's a monitor on the floor. I'm just saying if there was one, that's exactly what it would look like. And her eyes keep going back to that spot.
Or a notepad. Or a notepad.
Right. It could be anything.
Well,
It could be a
the
notepad.
thing is, when you go back to, there's not anything there. Unless it's in her lap. in
Well,
this scene.
if it's down there, it's on the floor and he's covering
hold
it
on.
up.
No. With the amount of gap that you see with the spacing of that table, she could have a legal pad, a personalized sized legal pad in her lap.
She could also have a tablet. Either way, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I'm saying, but both of which are sized enough to be concealed by that table.
Yeah, sure.
But if there is no practical reason why her eye line keeps going down and to her right, that's even worse. Because breaking off eye contact that often, like I said, it just makes you look shifty and dishonest and uncomfortable.
No, not in today's. No, not with today's youth. It doesn't.
I have to be honest.
Not with today's youth.
Sentence makes me uncomfortable.
Not with today's youth. It doesn't. With
Okay.
today's youth, Curmudgeon, Sasquatch. I don't know how often you guys work around. I'm a millennial. I work around. I work around Gen Zers and Alphas.
I have daughters.
Did you see right now? Okay, so you should understand what you're seeing right now.
I have no idea what goes through those children's heads.
This shit right here is extremely common in normal communication. It's actually very common.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
Um,
Go ahead.
what I'm saying is, if she's not looking at a pad, she's trying to mimic normal human communication for today's age. You should be even more so worried.
proposals in that regard, which include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in.
So this is where her homework kicked in. You went from the contrast of really struggling to get through the words. Her eyes are really focused inward. She's not looking at anyone to help the brain think. And then it flows out on this part, because this is the homework that she did. This is the part of the question I can answer fluently because I actually remember it.
America's small businesses, what we're going to do to invest in families. For example, extending the child tax credit to $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life to help them.
$6,000 because you got knocked up.
Which just only goes, a fraction of the way to offsetting inflation. If we're being technical about it.
Sure. Well, I mean, I've got a grandbaby and I got another grandbaby on the way. She's supposed to come in around 420. I have faith it'll be a daughter. A granddaughter. And and I've got it on good authority that my daughter's gonna let us name it Mary Jane. And if it's a boy, we're gonna name it Blunt Skippins.
That is nothing compared to the same amount of money you'll need for the single mother who decides to be a career mother. And that is nothing compared to the single mother who decides to come to this country and to be a career mother with multiple fathers whose demographics are not going to be yours.
Well,
and still get paid for it.
Speaking of that, is Kamala Harris an anchor baby?
Ooh.
Good question. I never thought about that. Shout out to you, Curmudgeon.
It's not
this drink's for you. Actually, you know what? Sasquatch, if you have a drink, this drink's for Curmudgeon. Actually, that's a good point. I never thought about that. This drink's for you, sir.
Well, and the other question I have is, and I'll just be brief here. When Kamala is describing her childhood, she often will refer to how her parents took her along to civil rights events and marches and protests. And you know what question that makes me ask is, your parents were both aliens on work visas. What the hell are they doing engaging in political activism in a country of which they are neither citizen nor permanent resident? That's all.
Buy a car seat to help them buy baby clothes, a crib. There's the work that we're going to do that is about investing in the American family around affordable housing, a big issue in our country right now. So there are a number of things on day one. What about you?
Well, I'm excited about this agenda too, as I said.
Stop right there. Stop right there. Hold on. In any presidential interview, even if the vice president was there, in what world does it make sense for the interviewer of any network to look at the vice presidential candidate and say, "What about you?"
Yeah, it was a weird segue.
I noticed that off the jump. Like, I mean, listen, and here's the thing, right? I made this argument. People have made this argument against me, but even in the 90s and 2000s, as a kid, when my dad and my teachers would make me have to watch something, either for an assignment or because my dad said you should watch this, I didn't notice that as a kid. as a kid in 90s and 2000s, right?
Okay.
2010s and 2020s, which I'm in now, right? I still didn't notice that. Well, I'm noticing it now in the 2020s. Did either of you as adults ever notice a news correspondent? Did either of you as an adult notice a news correspondent acting that way towards a presidential candidate ever?
No, but in the last decade or so, everything that used to be a convention in journalism has been thrown by the wayside. Nothing about the way you used to do journalism is still exercised by the news industry. And it's as a guy who's my first job was newspaper reporter, as most of you know already. But as someone who once came up in the industry 30 years ago and had to learn what used to be the rudiments of journalism, it's really a hell of a shocking thing to behold.
I think I know why they did it this way. This gives 2 times for Kamala Harris's message to be hammered in on people who watch it. 2 different people. It's that propaganda thing where you repeat things.
Now, wasn't the interview only less than 25 minutes long?
It's not terribly long, but we're not going to go.
And I believe she only wound up speaking for about 16 minutes, which is probably about their comfortable limit with her, if we're being honest.
It was extremely short, bro. I'm just saying, listen, maybe I missed something. I know, Sasquatch, you were giving your take. Maybe I missed something in there, but like, it's not weird for someone to say to a vice presidential candidate, hey, what about you?
Their policy doesn't make a difference unless you're planning on getting rid of the president.
Hey, third wheel afterthought. What do you think?
Exactly. That right there is the point.
This is like Dr. No petting his cat, or whoever it was that had the cat. I can't remember right now. Right? That was just the cat pet. They were just petting the cat on that one. He's the stress animal.
Oh yeah, which goes back to the fact that his function in this interview is to be an emotional support animal. So that's an outstanding reference.
Right.
These things that the vice president's proposing are things that we share in values. And the child tax credit's one we know that reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We did it in Minnesota to have a federal partner in this. Unbelievable, I think, in the impact that we can make.
You know what? This guy did his homework thoroughly. He was an A student in his class. He read that out real quickly.
When we came in, our highest priority was to do what we could to rescue America. And today, we know that we have inflation at under 3%. A lot of our policies have led to the reality that America recovered faster than any wealthy nation around the world. But you are right. Prices, in particular for groceries, are still too high. The American people know it, I know it, which is why my agenda includes what we need to do to bring down the price of groceries. For example, dealing with an issue like price gouging, what we need to do to extend the child tax credit to help young families.
Say it.
Price gouging. Oh, I said it in the roundup.
Yeah, elucidate. Tell me the real price gouging.
The idea that it's just about the most comical act of political ass covering you're ever likely to see. Everybody knows, we know, they know, the fake news reporters know that prices have gone up because this administration imposed a lot of really dumb, really stupid, really inflationary policies. And when you impose inflationary policies and shotgun blast trillions of dollars of fake money into the economy while you are paying people to stay home from work, do you think prices are going to go up?
Yes. I know this one. I took 101. Yes.
All right. That's the end of my elucidation.
Okay. Next question.
Be able to take care of their children in their most formative years. What we need to do to bring down the cost of housing. My proposal includes what would be a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers, so they can.
So attack.
All right, now, I'm sorry, Sasquatch. I'm going to cut you off.
Do it.
You and I were there live when we had this discussion when it first came out. Did we not dissect the absolute hell out of that policy?
I did the best I could with the information I have.
But you know, we saw it live though. Did we not say that if you were going to give $25,000 of free cash
But
to the
that's
American
not
taxpayer.
what she just said. She just said tax credits. That's entirely
Okay,
different.
okay, fine. If you're going to give a free tax credit to the American taxpayer, right? Which means that taxpayer is going to give $25,000 of cash to a home builder to get a loan, which means that same loan is going to have an additional $25,000 tacked on to that loan because they know you get that for free when they're buying that house. Are they not?
Right. Whatever. It's basically going to be the government paying itself. Is what
Exactly. So how the hell is that supposed to be beneficial to the government, especially beneficial to the economy, when they know
It's a hell of an outstanding question.
Yeah, but you're going to have tens of millions of people who are going to say, "I have $25,000," and you can say right now, Sasquatch, if you want, well, the 25K is coming from tax credit. That's fine, but guess what? What's injecting into the economy is $25K in cash from each person.
What's up, Carrie?
Kissy.
Well, and let's not get too far into this thing.
Carrie. This guy. Hold on. That guy. That's Carrie.
Okay. Well, you said okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
I just want to point out
if someone's getting $25,000 in tax breaks, that means that's $25,000 in cash. Because if someone's willing to, if someone's going to buy a home, that's an investment. They're using cash. They are using cash. They want to buy this home. They mean it. That's an investment. They are using cash.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't think it should go unmentioned before we proceed any farther how badly she botched what should be the easiest question for a person in her position to field, which is, what are you going to do on day one? That is the absolute easiest softball right down the middle question that she could ever possibly be asked. And she reacted like it had never even occurred to her. Every other presidential candidate we have ever seen, you ask them what they're going to do on day one, they rattle off a half a dozen things. I'm going to do this, going to do this, going to do this, going to do this. From Kamala Harris, we get, oh, well, we need to look at exploring doing things, what we can do around helping the middle class and making investments in.
Dude, I've already got to listen to this, Jake. Don't make me listen to you listening to this either.
I'm finished.
Sorry, it's torture beyond hell. I'm not going to permit it.
Just have enough to put a down payment on a home, which is part of the American dream and their aspiration, but do it in a way that allows them to actually get on the path to achieving that goal and that dream.
So you have been vice president for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
The steps that you're talking about now, why haven't you done them already?
Well, first of all, we had to recover as an economy.
Not lost.
Trump
just
did
blew
it.
his cover. Hold on. No, not lost just blew his cover. You see that? This individual is perfectly aware he's in cartoon world. And so he's plotting the cartoon world line. And we can no longer take this gentleman serious.
You know what? You're right, actually. Hold on, stop that.
No, that's absolutely yes.
Sasquatch. I'm giving you flowers. Sasquatch, I don't know how, for some reason, you're able to peer through the matrix. I don't know how you're able to read the code. I guess when you're sober, you can peer the code. Please stay sober forever, because when you're sober, you can peer into the code.
Dude, and, I've spent.
Yeah, you got him. You got him. Actually, you actually got him. Yeah, you did.
I'm just saying, man. I can read things like words.
Done that has brought inflation down to less than 3%. The work that we have done to cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month for seniors. Donald Trump said he was going to do a number of things, including allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Never happened. We did it. So now, as I travel in the state of Georgia and around our country, the number of seniors that have benefited.
I don't know what has happened with Walz here, but it was something. He went from sitting up straight to slowly beginning through this interview. And again, it's all cut up, so we have no idea.
Well, because I think somebody realized how ridiculous it looked to have him towering over her like that, and they told him to slouch down in his chair.
Right? He looks like
something you should have thought of before the thing went on the air, but who the fuck knows who's running this campaign?
He kind of reminds me of of Zeus from Clash of the Titans, right? Where he's sitting in the big throne over there. Only this dude has a really weak chin and no beard, no teeth.
That's why we never trust beardless men.
You don't even get to see the parts of its entirety of when this began, which is his slumping down. The shoulders are rolling down. His head is going down. He's literally making himself smaller as if he's trying to hide. And
that's what I was going to say at the beginning of this. What I see is a person who realizes they're in a place they're not supposed to be. They feel uncomfortable for being there. And since she is running for the presidency, he is supposed to be subservient to that. And so he keeps his hands below the table so that it's not his points that are made, but hers. He only responds to questions when directly asked. He doesn't make eye contact with the interviewer. He stares at her, making her the focus of the interview, regardless of what you think in the back of your head. And it's all chopped up. Go look through it. It's chopped up like it looks like a Michael Bay film.
And there's the possibility also, I think, that maybe he was affected by how the thing we were just talking about, how dismissive Dana Bash was toward him. Instead of saying, Governor Walz, what's your response to that question? She just goes, what about you?
That's nice. I like that.
I mean, he can't have taken that very well, because who would?
I would. I'd eat that shit out burgers. It'd be great.
It happens to get worse at this particular time, but because we don't see the beginning of it, we can't even put it into context.
Andy Pickle makes an excellent point here. An adjustable chair.
Oh, yeah. Just squeeze a little side handle.
None of those means you're stuck the way you are.
I'm just saying, man. Like, he's right. That's working smarter, not harder, folks.
The why.
I want to get some clarity on where you stand on some key policy issues. Energy is a big one. When you were in Congress, you supported the Green New Deal. And in 2019, you said, quote, there is no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. Fracking, as you know, is a pretty big issue, particularly in your must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Sure.
Do you still want to ban fracking?
No, and I made that clear on the debate stage in 2020 that I would not ban fracking. As vice president, I didn't.
All right, so we're watching that. She's gotten called out about banning fracking. And we know what she has said, but we also know what she has done. I made that clear on the debate stage of 2020. And you see the bounce effect. The head goes in the positive, but the whole body bounces with it. And this is actually an underlying theme with her. Every time she's just flat out lying to you, she bounces.
I love this woman.
I do too.
That's another one.
Every video she does is absolutely invaluable as far as I'm concerned.
It's just wild. It is wild the way she sees people. I love it.
And she's never wrong.
I've yet to find a situation that she was demonstrably wrong.
Yeah, me either. And I've watched lots of her stuff.
I'm that type of person.
Would not ban fracking. As vice president, I did not ban fracking. As president, I will not ban fracking.
She goes over that. She bounced in it. And then at the end of it, tight-lipped, very tight. By the way, she actually has muscle memory for here too. I call it duck face. For her, at this point, it has become muscle memory. So it's her go-to comfortable position for her lips and stress is duck face.
2019, I believe, at a town hall, you said you were asked, would you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office? And you said, there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed.
You see the eyes? Did you see the eyes?
Hold on. That duck face that she was doing was her way of looking at her and saying, I dare you to call me out. And then she did.
Yeah, well, I think she was not expecting to be confronted with inconvenient quotes. I think she didn't think it was going to be that kind of interview.
Exactly. I think that she was expecting this to be a total softball, so she went with the prep dancer. The prep dancer happened to blow up in her face. Jay.
Yep, sure did.
You with us?
Yes.
What do you think? Nope. Okay.
Honestly, I'm gonna go with what I said beforehand. I'm gonna pull up some footage before, like I mentioned. I think she's drunk in this interview. Actually, I believe that she relies upon alcohol too much in order to calm her nerves for these interviews. And when even though she doesn't feel like she's 100% prepared for the questions, because she has drinking so much alcohol and has relaxed her nerves enough, she is able to think on the fly because she's not stressed. And therefore, she's able to go off of enough generic answers that they've given her that she's able to pull from those in order to give an answer when she needs to.
Yeah, and she
Exactly.
does that. She does that all the time, just
Okay.
reaching into that grab bag of catchphrases.
But you can say word salad, right? But I'm saying the word salad is because she's drunk. She's not stressed. It's not forced. When she gives her word salad, it's not forced. It flows. It's natural. It's just there because she doesn't feel any stress. You know, when someone is stressed and they have to talk, right? When someone is stressed and they have to talk, you can feel how it's forced. You can feel how their words are begging to come out, but they can't come out properly, right? Hers don't. They just flow because they do. That's it. Even if it sounds like bullshit, they just flow. Have you not noticed that?
Did you see those eyes?
Nope.
I'm just saying.
I mean, you're not wrong.
You commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking on your first day in office, and you said there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed.
Oh,
Did you see that? Uh-oh. Skedios.
Yep.
Oops.
The head goes back, the eyes get big.
She goes, for that
Yeah,
long.
she just gave away way too much right in that little moment.
Federal ban on fracking on your first day in office, and you said there's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So yes. So it changed.
oh, literally mouths the words. Oh, believe me, look, comes in. The rest of the face falls down, eyes wide. Oh, you got me
in that campaign.
In 2020, I made very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I've not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my.
So you see a little bit of the bouncing.
borders are
as
either.
far as going forward, not changing her position.
Another thing you'll notice with her when she thinks when she thinks she's in trouble is the voice goes farther up into the nose, and it gets croaky.
Sorry, oops, my bad. Go ahead.
I'm done.
Do I get out of being caught in a lie? And her head is literally going in a circle as it mimics her actually going to all areas of her brain, trying to get out. People are funny that way. You ever watch a person when they're trying to get out of something? Their eyeballs are either going in a circle as they're accessing different parts of their brain, or their head goes in a circle as they're accessing parts of the brain. And the dumber they are, they literally go in circles as they access their brain. So I guess we can say that she's in the middle. Not retard, but not smart.
My word, and I will keep my word.
What made you change that position at the time?
Well, let's be clear. My values. I believe it is very important that we take seriously what we must do to
breaking news
guard against what is a clear crisis in terms of the climate. And to do that, we can do what we have accomplished thus far. The Inflation Reduction Act, what we have done to invest, by my calculation, over probably $1 trillion over the next 10 years, investing in a clean energy economy. What we've already done, creating over 300,000 new energy jobs.
I'm the youngest here on this panel. I'm going to tell you right now, I've done APA format papers, and I've done this tactic before where you use a bunch of extra words that you know will work in a sentence.
Yeah.
But you use them because you have a 20,000 word essay that you have to fill out, and you're required to do so, right?
Yeah.
And because you utilize this tactic, you fulfill the necessary boundaries. You fulfill the necessary. What's the word I'm looking for?
Necessary more word count, and
you fulfill the word count for that assignment. And you turn it in. They can't say no. They can't say
I
no.
don't know if you, I don't know if you saw
what's meant to be. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you saw the video where I read out Ray Gunn's doctoral thesis, but there was a whole hell of a lot of that phenomenon in there. Just the taking a thought that you can express in 6 or 7 words and just turning it into a paragraph length flight of redundant fancy.
I'm expert at that, sir. That is my
for real.
I am very, very good. I can do it on the fly vocally. So literal verbal diarrhea. All right, so y'all get the idea of this. She's basically lying through her teeth every chance she gets, as far as Bombard's concerned.
Well, hold on. To be fair, Sasquatch, she may not be lying. However, she is obscuring the truth, and that is a big difference.
Hey, Patricia.
Because no diplomat wants to be known as a liar, but they have no issue with obscuring the truth.
Oh, okay, plausible deniability.
But no, that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Ooh. I'm still out of jail. I know.
We need to recognize that they may not be lying, and they'll tell you right now under the law they're not lying, but they'll tell you.
Well, so let's briefly recap this sequence that we've just seen. First, Dana Bash confronts her with a quote from the 2020 campaign where she says very clearly that she's going to implement a total ban on fracking on day 1 in office because she thinks that's the right thing to do. And she cannot even extract from her an admission that she has changed her mind on the issue. She just proceeds as if the quote she was just confronted with simply doesn't exist. And did you hear how snidely she said the word no? Like, why would you even ask me that? It's just exactly what I said. What the hell?
I love it, dude. I love it. The political theater this year has been absolutely 5 stars, man.
Hasn't it though?
Really, really putting in the work this year.
Yeah, we get unprecedented stuff every presidential election year now, don't we? We don't get boring elections.
Wow.
There's no more 96 elections with Bill Clinton and Bob Dole.
So Carter was the most workingest president ever.
Yeah.
Wow. So here's what you
I mean as far as the ones from recent history.
Sure. Here's what you have to do to be the worst president in history. Your job.
Oh wow.
Think that shit through for a second, folks.
Oh wow.
I think that just explained a whole lot about our systems.
Wow.
Wow.
Sure did. Wow.
You brought me a link earlier.
Wow. I did, yeah. So this is in regards to the Brianna Kupfer murder. Kupfer murder. She was murdered by Sean Laval Smith, the man who authorities believe killed the 24-year-old in a luxury LA furniture store. He has been detained. He was detained as of January of 2022. So he's been locked up for about 2 years, and now his trial is finally coming through.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
And this is an update on it.
No, this is the first day of the trial.
Oh.
Happened this past weekend.
The 2022 murder of a 24-year-old UCLA grad student, Brianna Kupfer, is now underway. Sean Laval Smith is accused of stabbing Brianna to death while she was working alone at a furniture store. Police say he stabbed her 26 times. Let's bring in Leo Terrell, Fox News contributor and civil rights attorney. Leo, the elements of this story. And
is this anchor drinking? She sounds drunk.
This case are just so gruesome, so horrible. The sounds in the courtroom drove the parents right out. They couldn't even tolerate it. Just want to get your thoughts on what the public should think about this happening.
Can I get a pause?
What the public should think?
I was muted. I didn't realize I was muted. I will say, I know you bring up the point that is she drunk? I mean, maybe she is. I started to wonder now when I started thinking about like how many times I thought that Kamala Harris is drunk. Twitter is a very vicious rabbit hole. When you go into Twitter's algorithm, it really fucks with you. Because as I started listening to more of Kamala Harris's speeches, I started listening to more politicians' speeches and more newscaster speeches, which made me wonder how many of these motherfuckers are actually drunk when they're speaking. It made me wonder that. I'm wondering
or,
how many
or
of them are
not
actually drunk.
not just drunk, but medicated in some way. And the person I think of
Even
when I
still.
think of that is Nicole Wallace on
Even
MSNBC,
still,
who is,
all of them,
for my money, the most medicated woman on television.
my point is, even if they have the look you need for the public eye, if you have the look for the digital stage or the TV stage, right? You're still human. You have the same feelings that you and I do. You have the same emotions and same problems that you and I do. So I'm wondering how many of them have to be medicated before they go up there and they do their thing, because they have the look.
And they might also need to be medicated because they know they are engaged in an act of artifice that has nothing whatsoever to do with actual journalism.
Hey, Cap.
Yeah.
Who was it that did the song "I Make My Living Off the Evening News"? Dirty Headlines. Is that the name of it?
Oh yeah, I know that song.
Something I can use. Oh my god!
It's shit.
Sorry.
I know you guys are making a joke, but I'm being dead serious. I'm wondering how many of them are actually medicated before they go on live.
And I think Kamala Harris is under a light effect of alcohol and a heavy anti-anxiety med like Xanax or possibly Klonopin.
Yep.
Something like
that. It's an Eagles tune. Thank you, Mother.
Is that Eagles?
Oh, yeah, Lord. She's right.
Oh Lord!
Well, I think it's actually a Don Henley tune.
Don Henley specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Is the head dead yet? Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I knew I could when I was imagining it. I could hear Don Henley's voice, but I couldn't quite place
right?
it.
So that's the YouTube song if there ever was one. All right, Jay. So
fuck the Eagles.
Is homie fixing to disassemble all of this properly?
He's the one who gives you the context to everything. But because it's Fox News, Leo can give you the context because he's black, so it's not racist.
Oh, it's not racist. Gotcha.
Yeah.
What should have happened? It should have never happened. This young girl should be alive today. What is the problem, Sandra? It is progressive criminal justice. This murderer, he's going to get convicted, has been on the loose for 15 years. Arrested, released, arrested, released, arrested. North Carolina, South Carolina.
Say what you want to say, but right there, that you stopped at the perfect time because those are each one of his mugshots. Right there. Those are each one of his mugshots in different parts of the country throughout the 15 years he's talking about. I know people are going to say, oh, it's a race case, it's a race-based thing. Oh, it's a left thing, it's a right thing, it's a blue state thing, it's a red state thing. Understand, regardless of which side you're talking about, our country, our judicial system, whichever side of the aisle you're talking about, has allowed someone like this to be free for 15 years.
Yep.
The point they were able to go from the East Coast to the West Coast and stab a 22-year-old woman to death. Understand that.
Say to death and then some.
Exactly, but you can say whatever you want to say about whoever is supporting who, right?
Well, come on,
our
man.
judicial system, for a fact, allowed this person to go from coast to coast and then kill someone, knowing they had a history of violence.
Is a future scholar and a gentleman. And
Clearly.
I'll not have his name besmirched, even if he does have 14. Let's see, 1, 2, 3.
If that's the case, okay, well then, you know what, Sasquatch, in that case, and you can tell me what the defense he should have is. Then. You should tell me what the court is going to say his defense is going to be ultimately. Go on, sir. Go ahead.
Personally, I believe there are...
And please don't use generational trauma, because that's already going to be used.
Well, if you done pulled my teeth, you got me in a box here, bro. No, but what I'm getting at is this. If we allow this type of propaganda to take place in front of your lying eyes, and we don't at least satire it into the freaking ground, meme it, people. Meme it. That's what it takes. It takes for it to be so obvious that no one can deny it.
Yep.
California, assaulting an officer, misdemeanor crime, shooting a weapon into a vehicle where there was a young little boy. And now you have this situation. He was released by the district attorney office in LA regarding a misdemeanor possession of stolen property. Why is he on the street? Because of progressive policy. George Gascon, George Soros, and guess who? The founder of progressive
real quick, right there. Stop right there. Go back a frame. Go back a frame. Go back one frame. I bet you any money you're not gonna like this, Sasquatch. I'm gonna leave it at this point. You can fast forward after I'm done saying it. I bet you any money where that bald spot was, there was a little small hat.
Where
that lawyer's hat was.
What flavor juice he likes. He's the part of the crew that does the lawyering.
Listen. You by all means, you can disagree with me. My gut just tells me I see where his bald spot is, and some part of me just jumps out and says,
"That's classic New York bell-patterned balding. That's just the way that works, right?"
I mean, am I wrong though? Is my assumption, is my gut feeling wrong?
I don't know. Cap, you want to mention this bald spot that we've noticed?
No comment.
Well, in that case,
leadership in California, Kamala Harris. That is why this young lady is not alive today. You know what he's wearing right now? That monster is wearing a spit mask right now. That's not a COVID mask. That's a spit mask because of his outrageous conduct. And the defense attorney, Sandra, did not do an opening statement. Why? Let me be as clear as possible. 35 years of practicing law. That guy is going to be found guilty. Not even a question. He left a recording of his horrific crime at the scene. DNA, forensic evidence. It is.
Dude, that is ballsy.
It seriously is ballsy.
Listen, guys, listen. Please.
I can't defend that.
Look, okay, listen. You know, like some of your guys don't know, like the organization I'm part of. They don't know my politics. They're kind of like crossing it between what I'm saying and your own personal audience, right? You guys don't have the full context. Please don't make those kind of assumptions. I think you're making those assumptions off of a jump. Okay. No, for real, Sasquatch, because like I understand why they're saying this. I get it, right? This is my fault. This is ultimately my fault because I get really loose in the tongue, especially in these kind of moments, and it causes people to have those kind of responses. Please, I don't want to be the cause of that. I don't want to be the cause of that. Yes, are there parallels? Are there parallels between now and
brown shirts? It's his pet peeve are the brown shirts and modern equivalents.
I understand that. Okay, are there parallels between what I'm saying and between what's happening now? Yes, there are. But you should not automatically take that and run with it and try to recreate that, please.
Okay.
No, I'm not joking. Listen.
I know.
Please stop. Please. I'm really not joking. I'm really not joking. Please. Kristallnacht is not something we want to reenact.
It's not.
It's really not. It wasn't good the first time. We Sasquatch. We do not want to have a part 2. We really don't want to. Not in today's world. We have too many firearms in society to have a part 2. That will get extremely ugly. Sasquatch.
You know, I never expected when the South would rise again that it would carry Wisconsin.
Sasquatch, that will be.
It is an indictment against progressive district attorney. And one last statement. The progressive want us to coexist, to live with criminals in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in our retail stores, in our hospitals. They want us to coexist. That doesn't make sense, Sandra.
6'2", 190-pound male. He basically walked up to that girl walking alone in a furniture store and told her she never had a chance, turned on a video. The video recorded almost everything. I mean, the evidence against him, I mean, he left the bent knife there. But there's digital audio recordings. there's security camera images, and we just had a second ago up the number of mugshots dating back over the decades. How many times this guy has been arrested for absolutely abhorrent behavior. This is Brianna's parents. They spoke to a local affiliate about what it has been like since they lost their daughter.
Your brain honestly wakes.
Dude, oh man, you want to talk about creating a vigilante? Oh man,
I'm surprised there hasn't been more vigilantism, frankly.
Yeah, no, I mean, how far does it have to go before?
Well, because when the authorities and what used to be the criminal justice system is so plainly and obviously oriented toward protecting criminals, that's where you get vigilantism.
Yeah.
What you guys are failing to understand is that vigilantism is already occurring, but it's not occurring in this sector. It's occurring towards the pedophile sector.
Yeah.
Occurring towards the PDF file sector. If you want to look at social media and where people actually do this, it occurs towards PDF files. PDF files are where they happen the most. Where you see people just getting their asses beat for what they're doing. That's where it happens. This sector is not where it happens. It's not big here yet.
Have you
because
seen
the wrong person hasn't had this happen to their family yet. When the wrong person has this happen, you will see the shift. But here's the difference, though. When the wrong person has this happen to their sister, mother, girlfriend, cousin, what have you, it's gonna get ugly. It's gonna get extremely violent. Because you have to understand.
Well, and that's
something.
Go ahead.
If someone from that community, the PDF file, and anyone can fact check me on this. If you look at any of the PDF file communities, the PDF file hunters, they beat the shit out of them on camera, right? If you see something like this happen, and one of those people from that community get wrapped up into this, they will kill them on camera. That's when you'll have the race war start. Because this community is already active.
Sir,
for a different reason.
I hear what you're saying. I hear the words coming out of your mouth, but I personally refuse to live in a world where Charlie Manson was right.
Seriously.
Hey, guess what? Not my people, not my war. So
right, Charlie Manson's on his own. He's got to deal with his own shit.
Y'all figure it out.
It's good. We good.
Wakes up from a nap, from a sleep, and you jolt like someone electrocutes you because your brain suddenly realizes, my daughter's gone.
You wake up, you think about it. You can't help it. You take a walk, you think about it. You do anything, she comes to mind. She was really a good girl, good living example of what more of it should be like.
So will this be a wake-up call to some of these cities that allow this to happen, to allow someone like that out on the street?
The wake-up call is going to happen when the victim is the daughter of a prominent Democrat politician.
You reckon?
Or when it's a prominent streamer who hunts down PDF files. And they say, hey, listen, today's not about PDF files. Today, this person hunted down my sister, hunted down my girlfriend, hunted down my mother.
So,
if I'm telling you right now, if I had those resources and someone did that to any one of the three, I don't give a fuck if I'm getting arrested. I don't care, because at that point, it's like, why would I care? I have the resources and I have the means to get back at you.
Perhaps you shouldn't say anything that might be self-incriminating in the future.
Okay.
As your Sasquatch, I advise you.
Okay. I mean, but I'm just understand how believable is that?
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm saying as your lawyer, who's not your lawyer, I advise you not to finish that sentence. Because that will be used against you in a court of law in the future. You are a YouTuber.
And Queenbird raises a good point from a story this past week. Apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado being quite literally taken over by gun-wielding Venezuelan migrant gangs. And the Democrat governor says you should not believe your lying eyes. It is all just a sinister right-wing conspiracy theory. And isn't it funny how quickly Democrats stop caring about guns when the guys holding them are Venezuelan gangbangers?
Dude, they're probably better armed than most of the cops around there.
And it's really an outstanding look when the governor of Colorado just smiles and smirks and hand waves the thing away, while his own citizens are cowering inside their own homes with 5 locks on their door because they don't want to be killed by the Venezuelan illegals.
But you would figure that at some point in time they would vote for something else to take place.
You would figure that, wouldn't you? It's almost like maximum cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, it's Aurora, Colorado. Yeah. I've got a couple of YouTuber buddies over there, and they have been deathly silent on this whole gang situation there. Not a one of them has said a freaking word. And I even emailed one and asked a question, was like, how prevalent is this particular gang? And it's been absolute freaking crickets. He lives in Aurora.
How can you be silent on a thing like that?
Because he knows how I roll. My autism will get the better of me and I'll find stuff. I don't know. We got about 10 minutes left. Do you have some Twitter stuff you wanted to bring up? Jay? Twitter stuff? You're muted. I can't hear you until you talk.
Oh, you're talking to me? Okay. Let me check to see whether or not I don't know if I showed this or not. I'm hoping I didn't. If I did, well, then it just kind of takes away the epicness of it. But if I didn't, then you guys will enjoy it twice as much. First comes the first, so let's see whether or not I was able to save this and you guys didn't.
What's that about the Hell's Angel being on their way there to straighten it? That's
I've seen that. I have seen that.
Well, I mean, I've got a cousin that's always said he was in the Hell's Angels and everything. He always claimed Aurora as part of their territory. He just said outright that was their business.
And frankly, we are actually at a point in our history where I would trust the Hells Angels to handle it more than I would trust the police. And it seems absurd that we should be saying that, but here we are.
Wow. I mean, bikers aren't all bad. I mean, they're not.
No.
They got wives and sisters and kids and fathers and stuff.
Just like mafiosi aren't all bad all the time. I mean, they do have moral codes.
That's true. I mean, you don't mess with a made man, but other than that,
they really tend to take a dim view of innocent people being harmed for no good reason. They tend to reserve their violence for, people they are in gang-to-gang conflicts with, or people who have done something in violation of whatever moral code they operate under.
And that's a big difference between the old school gangs and the modern gangs that you have operating.
Yeah, it is. There's fewer gang ethics than there used to be, you might say.
I don't know. If there's a moral code, I'm not recognizing it. Right? It might be a cultural problem, but I can't see the throughput of goodness there. In the old school mafioso time, you had to pay your taxes and you had to get the VIG and all that stuff. But at the same time, there was a certain amount of reciprocity that took place in those types of communal environments.
Well, yeah, if you paid your protection money, you got protection in return. If somebody robbed your store, the robber is going to have a bad fucking day.
Real bad day. And they will find out because, and this is the thing that always gets me. The mafia will contact somebody who owes them money and be like, hey, we need to know this for your next payment. Right? We need to know this. We need to know this thing. And they don't care how you get the information, but you get it to them and you're good. You're straight for another however long. You know, it works, but it's not.
It's an overly simplistic viewing of the history and the situation to pretend like it's just a one-way street where there is only extortion and intimidation, and the people paying the protection money don't get any benefits from it, because they totally do. It doesn't make it correct, obviously, but it's not as black and white as some people would like it to be.
But there is a certain level of ethics, you know.
Yes.
These people, all right, here's a perfect example. These people, the ones we're speaking of, if you're a random serial killer or you're just out punching old ladies in the street like it's Blazing Saddles or something, you are not going to make it far. They will just execute you in the street like trash. They don't have any compunction about that whatsoever.
Oh yeah,
On the other hand, if you're a little old lady in the street, I'm not saying they will help you cross the street, but they might stop traffic for you to, you know?
Yep. Yeah, it was gangbangers who caught the Night Stalker. And if they had been left to their own devices, if the cops had gotten there 5 minutes later, they would have beaten his ass to death right in the middle of the street.
That's crazy. I forgot that. You're right. It was gangbangers that caught the Night Stalker. You got
sure
it up?
was.
Society still finds a way to self-correct. Make no mistake.
That sounds like some Batman shit.
Listen carefully, y'all.
It's getting the first turkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's being delivered
And so
tomorrow.
just 1 minute out.
How's the volume sound, by the way? I can't control it anymore than I have now.
It's a little
Low.
low.
Yeah.
Bro, it's at max volume here. I can't make it any higher.
All right, no
Let's
worries
see that.
then. Just go with it.
I'll put the volume of my computer, but I don't know if that's going to help any. That's the best I can do.
I have 1 minute.
Yeah.
Kosher salt, fresh ground pepper, maybe chop up a little thyme, and then you can mix it even with. Okay, so do the salt and pepper all over it, like just lather that baby up, right? On the outside in the cavity. You could also chop up, but not with the thyme, just the salt and pepper. Mix that up also with some thyme. You could even do a little rosemary if you want, under the skin with some butter before you're gonna cook it. So that butter will just melt in there. And then get a nice big bottle of cheap white wine to baste with butter. Yes, hi.
Okay.
Yes.
The caption is that
She's
Kamala
so
Harris
domestic.
is hammered.
Isn't it wonderful and relatable?
Yeah, that Kamala Harris is hammered in this video. That's the caption. That she is hammered in this
She
video.
don't look sober.
She doesn't look exactly on top of her A game. I'll be honest.
I'm not very disinclined to believe the rumors that she's a pretty serious alkie.
So I got
it seems like there's pretty good evidence for it.
Now this was her. This video was her. The first time she decided to give unscripted or unsupervised discussion to the media after an event. She decided to give an impromptu interview to the media after one of her events. So
Can I
that's the next
point
video
out
is.
that I'm a little bit upset with people. 15% of people voted for Kanye Jesus West. What's wrong with you?
I never even saw the poll.
I saw it was on
Me neither.
it was on my
Don't feel bad.
YouTube. I do a poll just about every live stream. It gives
He
them
wanted to
something.
be he wanted to be a communist about it.
Communist.
Seriously.
Careful. I didn't get communal about it at all. In fact, I haven't given you a single STD.
But did you give me a single STI, sir?
I could, if like you have one in particular, I could go find it. I do know the hose.
Hey, we'll see. STD, you can say no, but STI. Can you say no to that, sir?
Area.
It's different.
It's like talking to a high-class wine merchant. He can get you any STD you need.
Exactly. It's different when you're talking to someone who's educated. It's different, isn't it? Yeah. He's not used to that.
It does trip me up a little bit. It's those words you see. I never learned them. They're educated type words. I just learned the ones they use in the library.
I ain't got no fancy book learning.
There was a lot of books, sir. All right, dude. Jay, do the thing. You're gonna do
the thing. You got one more video to play. Hold on. Before I do the thing, you got one more video to play, sir. I have it in the back. I want everyone to see that. I want everyone to see that last one before we end out the night. Let's just let that one play out so that they can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Can you explain how you're going to pay for those? And can you give us a sense of what other policies you want to unveil going forward?
Sure. Well, I mean, you just look at it in terms of what we are talking about, for example, around children and the child tax credit and extending the EITC. It's at $6,000 for the first year of a child's life. The return on that investment in terms of what that will do and what it will pay for will be tremendous. We've seen it when we did it in the first year of our administration. We reduced child poverty by over 50%. So that's a lot of the work. And then what we're doing in terms of the tax credits, we know that there's a great return on that investment. And when we increase home ownership in America, what that means in terms of increasing the tax base, not to mention property tax base, what that does to fund schools, again, return on investment. I think it's a mistake for any person who talks about public policy to not critically evaluate how you measure the return on investment. When you are strengthening neighborhoods, strengthening communities, and in particular the economy of those communities, and investing in a broad-based economy, everybody benefits and it pays for itself.
Sir.
How many times did she say return on investment? Just saying. I counted 4.
Sir,
one thing she really likes to do to pad out her sentences is to say, in America.
Sir, I do not, and I will not stand for any of this silliness. That level of pandering should not be permitted. That's lethal levels. Oh, my Lord. Cat. All right, no, wait. Really? First, Jay, do the thing. Tell everybody bye.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to me today. Even though I am highly intoxicated, I will be highly intoxicated until tomorrow evening because it is the one of our America days, which is Labor Day, actually. Guys, if you want to see more of my content, you can come on over to Jay's Hot Topics on the YouTube, the Twitter, or the Rumble. It is all Jay's Hot Topics. I appreciate Sasquatch. I appreciate Captain Curmudgeon for allowing me to come on to the show today, even though I was too far intoxicated to give a monologue. I really appreciate being here regardless, because it is always fun to be here with these two every week on Sunday, 8 p.m. on the dot. Guys, if you want to see more of myself, my pretty face, come on over to Jay's Hot Topics. We'll welcome you there. Go ahead, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks ever so much for joining us here on the Blast Radius. We do this thing every Sunday, and sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's funner. We all hope your Labor Day weekend is proceeding agreeably. We hope you have yourself a big, proper American barbecue bash tomorrow, even though it costs 35% more than it used to. We'll work on fixing that. Those Soviet-style central government price controls, gonna get that fixed right up. We will see you next week. Until then, do not comply. Get off my lawn.
That's all, folks.
Give me the money. Give me the money.